a skeleton key here. I think I've already mentioned that I got this from the library next, even though this is actually, I think, the June book for the Random Penguins for the literary horoscope. It's Untamed by Glennon Doyle. I had no idea who Glennon Doyle was, let alone what Untamed was. I still don't know who Glennon Doyle is. She's the author of Love Warrior. And I don't know what that means. That as far as I made it to page 68, and okay, so Random Penguins were 0 for 2 on this. You're not doing so great. And okay, so when I first got this from the library, I was kind of looking through it, and I kept seeing all this stuff, these passages where there was all this bolding all over the place, and I was reading the back cover, and it just didn't really sound like something that I would get much inspiration out of. It's supposed to be a very inspiring read. I don't want to say anything disparaging this author because I still don't really know who she is or what she's about, but I started reading it, and actually at the beginning, the first several chapters, and it is these really short, choppy chapters, like each one is, that one's 2 pages, 2 pages, 2 pages. Oh, here's one that's like 4 pages, little bursts of vignettes kind of thing, which I don't really have feelings about one way or the other. I know some people really hate that, some people like it. I'm whatever. But the first several sections, little chapters, I was actually kind of liking it. I was getting more out of it than I really anticipated that I would. But then she starts talking about how Love Warrior was about her. It was like a love story about her and her husband, or now ex-husband, and how basically it was all a sham. And I'm like, well, props for being honest, I guess. And I just think it's kind of weird to diss your own book like that, but if that's genuinely how you feel looking back at it, well, and I can identify with that to a certain extent. It was kind of odd, but yeah, I'll roll with it. Then she started to go into detail about how she met her wife, and I mean, oh my god, the insta love, and I kind of defend insta love in fiction, especially YA fiction, because insta love is a real thing. But it was just so over the top, and I have to wonder, in a few years, is she going to be writing a book about how this was such a sham, and she's divorcing her wife, and I mean, I'm not saying that it obviously is, or that I have any knowledge, because I really don't know this woman, but but it's like, I think that would be really weird, and I'm not saying I want that to happen. I hope she and her wife are very happy and remain very happy forever. But I found myself just not really trusting her narrative. And then she starts going into all the addiction stuff, and I mean, that's great if that's something that resonates with you, that's something you're interested in reading about. This may be a great book for you. I just don't have any interest in addiction stories or recovery from addiction stories or anything like that. Even in fiction, nonfiction, I'm just like, well, I'm glad that worked out, or I'm glad they got help. I'm glad they're doing better now. But unless it's somebody I know personally, I can't get emotionally invested in it. And that's just me as a reader. I'm not saying that addiction stories are bad or anything like that, or that there shouldn't be a market for them. No, I think this is probably a perfectly good and worthwhile read for a lot of people, particularly women, because she does come at it from a viewpoint of having spent so much of her life being a good little girl, and it wasn't until she met her wife that she felt alive and felt brave enough to be untamed. So I'm not disparaging her work at all or who she is. It's just this book is not for me. So maybe I'm just not a typical Cancer. I don't know, but really, Random Penguins, your book picks for me as a Cancer, you're not doing great. So I've covered pretty much what I want to say about Untamed, and I have returned that one to the library, but I wanted to give you a sneak peek of what is up next with the Random Penguins. And that is How Beautiful We Were. And I don't know how to pronounce this name, Mbolo Mbue. I'm just kind of taking a guess on that. I've never heard of this book. I've never heard of this author. Author of the New York Times bestseller Behold the Dreamers. I've never heard of that. So I don't have a lot to say yet about this book. It's set in the fictional African village of Kosawa, and it tells of a people living in fear amid environmental degradation wrought by an American oil company. And that is the first description on the list that actually sounds interesting to me. This is brand new. So I checked this out of the library, and I am the first library patron to be reading this book. I got first on the wait list for this one. But since this is a highly anticipated book, I'm sure there is a line of people waiting for this. So I better read it quickly and get it back to the library. I'm not going to be able to renew this one, I'm pretty sure. So I will see you next month to talk about How Beautiful We Were. Until then, please like and subscribe, and see you around.